Welcome to Politics Done Right. I am your host, Egberto Willies. This is a progressive program that will take the mystery out of politics. This is the program that will encourage you to make sure government becomes we the people. Whether you are liberal, progressive, conservative, or otherwise, you get to air your point of view. We are an independent media outlet that, unlike mainstream media beholden to corporations, we only owe allegiance to you. Remember, you can also send me a tweet at EGBERTOWILLIES. That is at Egberto Willies. Let us engage. It is Politics Done Right.
Well, folks, welcome to one more edition of Politics Done Right. I'm Egberto Willies, your host. Thank you so kindly for being a part of the show. We are going to have, as usual, a great show for you today. Welcome aboard. Welcome aboard. Whoops, I better go ahead and get my Substack screen going. All right, for the first 60 or so people I don't know who you are because I started it late, as usual. Anyway, we're going to get started here, folks. Patrick Magner wins the election. He was the number one person in the chat. Patrick Magner, numero uno, welcome aboard. Second in the chat, Yvette Avery Herod from Atlanta, Georgia. Patrick Magner is from Houston, Texas. Eric Hayes, third in the chat from Kingwood, Atascocita. We also have the one and only Jay Ray with a big roar in from Houston, Texas. And of course, our steady Joe Ann from Los Angeles, California. Welcome aboard, sis. We also have in the house Lee Grant from Montgomery County. Welcome aboard, Lee Grant. And we have Lee the Bearcat from Austin, Texas. Welcome aboard. Welcome aboard. What am I seeing here? Something technical error has occurred. What technical error has occurred? I don't see a technical error, so I better take a look to see what technical error we're talking about on Facebook. But E2247 has just joined us. Welcome aboard, E2247 from all over the place. Let me go ahead and add this group and see if our technical error had something to do with groups, and it may. Tom C. is in the house. He has a new extended limerick that will be coming. We can't wait for it. Michael Rudnin has finally made it. He hasn't made it yet. He says he will see me in 10 minutes. So I guess he's rushing home to get ready to listen to the show. Anyway, folks, before I get into what the program is supposed to be about today, I want to hit us up on the Amazon story because it has me I shouldn't say freaking out. It is upsetting, the Amazon story, for this reason. And Donald Trump and his posse got into a fit. Welcome, Dale. Got into a fit because Jeff Bezos was going to, when they put the prices out, they would put the price of the price increase of the tariff. In other words, if something costs $100 and the tariff costs an increase in price in $30 more, they'll put $100 for the price of the product, $30 for the tariff fee, and they went into a panic because, remember, most of MAGA for a while believed that the tariff was going to be paid by China, and they also thought the tariff was going to be paid by all these foreign countries, not realizing that every time Donald Trump said he's putting a tariff on, he's actually putting a tariff on poor Americans. He's putting a tariff on middle-class Americans. He put in a tariff on MAGA Americans, on all Americans. All right? That is where the tariff is coming from. So when he talks about collecting $5 billion a day in tariffs, it's not that much. He lies through his nose, through his teeth. When he talks about collecting all this money in tariffs, these billions of dollars he's collecting every day in tariffs is money out of your pocket, so that money can go to offset what he needs to give rich people their tax cut. That is what it's going to be doing. No, the Bezos stuff isn't yesterday's news, but here's why I wanted to bring that up again today. Because I don't ever think Bezos thought and those guys ever thought it through. Because here's the problem with telling people what how the tariffs have increased the pricing. When you go ahead and apply and tell people what their tariff is going to be based on the product that they purchase, in effect, you have told them what the raw price of the product is. So normally, if you buy, let's say you buy a mouse, you buy a mouse from China. That mouse may have cost $1, and I'm not kidding you. That mouse may have cost $1, a complicated, nice mouse, $1, and they may sell it at Amazon for $15. Now, if the tariff on that mouse, as you know, we have in as the tariff for China right now is 145%. This $1 mouse is now going to cost $2.45, right? What that means when Jeff Bezos puts the value of the tariff, when he posts that next to the item, Americans are finally going to realize how the capitalist system rips them off. Why? Because the kind of markups that you put on these Chinese products that are made very cheaply is huge. So that when they put that extra $1.45 you're paying for that mouse onto the final bill, thinking people, I don't expect those who just see that price increase are going to say, oh, wait a minute. If the tariff is this amount, that means the value of that product as it comes off the ship is $1.45. That means that you have been marking up that product to us by over 1,000%. And suddenly, it all falls apart. It all hey, Patrick, be nice to Brian. It all falls apart. The complete economic model of importing cheap goods for people starting to say, wait a minute, I don't have to do that. So companies like Temu and others are starting to screw these American folks these American capitalists that have been screwing them over and over the decades, screwing the American people over the decades. They're starting to say, wait a minute, we can go around the American capitalists. How do we go around them? We sell directly to them. So even, and this is some of the stuff that a lot of folks don't realize, and this is why Amazon wasn't too worried about backing down, right? Because the American population, when they realize that this mouse costs $2, they can probably buy it at Temu, I don't know, maybe for $4 or $5. And even if they go ahead and put the $145 tariff, 45% tariff on it from China, if they buy directly from China, China continues to win. Guess what else? China doesn't have to pay the container fees and all of that to send the product here and go through aduana and all of that. They sell directly and ship via the United States Postal Service. And, the United States Postal Service will charge the person receiving that product their tariff. And all the better, Amazon loses it all. So I want Americans to understand, we have been used as the pawn for a very long time. And by the way, don't call it crapola. These products that are made by China, even the cheap ones, are damn good. Because guess who buy the cheap products? The company that's selling it to you at a very expensive price. Don't forget that. All this stuff that we pay a lot of money for, most of that money doesn't go to China. Most of it goes to the capitalists. Please, folks, we have been had for so long. And it's important that we understand it. Judy K. Craft says, so I can still order glasses from Zenny Optical? Oh, yeah, absolutely. And it still comes out cheaper because here's the deal. You go ahead and you go to one of these places, these private eye doctors that cost you $300-400 for your glasses. They go ahead and put in an order in China that they have all these robots that make the glasses for you. And it comes into your office. And you pay the $300-400-500 for your bifocals or your grade. I have graded glasses here. You know, the ones that it's sort of a bifocal, but it is done in sort of a way that looks pretty cool. I paid. This is a prescription bifocal. It's not bifocal. It's a gradient. You know, it has different levels. This would cost me about $500. If I went to optometrist here, I paid $49 bringing it into the country. Again, right? Hey, I'm an activist. I have to watch my pennies, right? Trifocals, gradient for me. I hear you, Judy Craft. I hear you. Anyway, welcome, Judy. Teresa Egan, welcome. We also have Amy Sarros Query. And let's see, we have Kathy Kandal, Margaret Ryan, Karen Andrews, Dale. I don't have all the old persons that came in earlier. So I wanted to bring up that point with Amazon. First of all, to let us know that we have to get smarter in the way we deal with Amazon, in the way we deal with TikTok, in the way TikTok shop, right? In the way we deal with all these other folks, because all it is that the people who do the work make minimal money, and the folks who are moving the product around make a killing. Again, a $1 or $2 mouse on Amazon costs $10. That's what increase, a 500% increase in price. For all practical purposes, that's why Donald Trump was saying, let the corporations eat the profit, right? I mean, eat the tariff. In other words, he's trying to say, hey, rich corporations, why don't you pay the bill? But that'll never happen, right? That'll never happen. They don't do that. That's not how the system works at all. Anyway, before I move on, if anybody wants to add to the Amazon story, just give me a call, 281-823-7747, before I move on to the other topic. The number is 281-823-7747. If you've just found us on Substack, go ahead and click that subscribe button to subscribe to our channel. If you are on the application, just hit that subscribe button. Become a subscriber to our channel here on Substack. Become a subscriber on YouTube. Become a subscriber all over. Welcome aboard, Bill Rogers and Bobby Lear. Thank you for being here. All right, folks. So again, I'm going to wait a couple of seconds to see if anybody wants to talk about or talk to me about this Amazon story, 281-823-7747. I'm going to wait 30 seconds, and then we're going to move on. Tim Danahy says, Egberto, perhaps a brief mention of tariffs and May 10th is in order. That is the date we start to feel it. Yes. Is that the 90 days or is May 10th the 90 days? I thought it was further out, but okay. That is the day that it becomes official, and the official amount are following. 145% from China, 25% Canada and Mexico, except for other things that are in the UMCA, and there's 10% around the world. Here's a funny thing. Around the world, the average tariff was like 1 point something percent. So Donald Trump has increased it by over 800% in the aggregate. Think about that. Think about that. Donald Trump, largest tax rate in ages. I am a Substack subscriber. Thank you, Judy K. Craft, becoming a Substack subscriber. Folks, click that subscribe button on Substack. Become a member of the team. All right, let's see. Joe says, eyeglasses. I chose to get from China because I was so disgusted with the markup. If I'm going to pay an unjust regime, I got angry on it. I went direct. Said, screw the Amazon middle person. You're right. And again, a $300 to $500 glasses. It's a nice lens. $49. All right. Patrick Magnus says it is becoming evident that quality control in China will be lowered for products built for the United States. It's funny, right? Because as it turns out, the electric cars out of China are exceptional. Exceptional. All right, Patrick, let's see what else we have. Michael Radnin says on CNBC, Temu adds import charges of 145% after Trump tariffs, more than double price of many items. The fees, which began cropping up over the weekend after price hikes went into effect on Friday, cost more than the individual product consumers are buying and more than double this price of typical order. There's some bad times looming in our near future. Price shocks beyond reason. People think groceries are expensive now. Most don't have a clue what's coming. When enough people get to the brink of ruin, revolution follows. We're about to see a whole lot of pissed off people. You know, with all this stuff, you know, all of you that are saying, yeah, get those brown people out of this country. Get those brown people out. The only people that were willing to cut your crops were the brown people. And guess what you're going to have? Your brown people ain't going to be around to pick your lettuce or anything else. Maybe we should start bottling stuff, right? In 30 days since the announcement, the time it takes for transport. So May 10th will be the last full shipment. So says LBW, as well as so indicated our brother Tim Danahy from Pennsylvania. All right. Tom Zarnik got the limerick out in time for me to read before our first video. Tom Zarnik, folks, is our resident poet laureate. And I always read Tom's limerick on the first try. And generally, I get it right on the first try. So let's go for it. Here we go. Tom's new extended limerick. Trump's been president again now for 100 days. Sits in his gold awful office waiting for praise. Admiring the fires he started burst into a blaze. Upset that polls show him with more nays than yays. The forces of evil want us to cower. Hide from fat cats. Don't speak truth to power. With 45 months to go, there is no time to slow. Whether you're a Mrs. or a Mr., you need to heed Governor Pritzker. We must fight for freedom everywhere and always, and not be timid like mice caught up in a maze. Madre mia, Senor Zarnik, you nailed it again. I hope you guys like that limerick. He nailed that limerick. I tell you, this guy is just out of this world good. That's just who he is. All right. He is just out of this world good. All right. Tim Danahy says the last day to receive a Chinese container ship, dock worker layoffs then occur, then truckers. Then even if Trump ended tariffs today, it takes China months to ramp up scheduled ships. It's going to be a mess. All right, let's see. Marg KJ, how you doing, beautiful? We also have B. Warren in the house, Chardonnay in the house, Independent Voter 1 just joined us. Audrey and E. Guyton, welcome aboard, as well as Lynn Finerman. Thank you guys for being here. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Let's go ahead and make sure that we get all in order, my brothers and sisters. All right. Here comes our first Yvette Avery Herod replying to Zarnik. She gives you a big set of claps, Zarnik. I think you blew that one out of the water. Lieb the Bearcat points out UPS is laying off 20,000 workers. It's beginning. All right, just now, Jasmine Crockett calls out MAGA for their Christian hypocrisy. There is nothing godly about taking vulnerable people and taking away their health care. All in the same name a billionaire having more money in their pockets. There was always a group of Christians that were what we call Christians in name only. And that is the definition today. Look, I'm a transpartisan guy. We have Tim Danahy in the chat right now. And Tim Danahy and I go back a very long time. He's a great supporter of our program. We were in a coffee party together where we really promoted transpartisanship, which we still promote transpartisanship. But there's an evil that is occurring right now within our country. And what Donald Trump has allowed is evil to fester. And there's nothing. You remember Hitler? You remember how Hitler got good people to do bad things? That is where we're at. Good people doing bad things. We have to start reminding people that they're good. And believe it or not, that's why I keep the stance that I keep with my good old MAGAs, my MAGA friends, etc. All right, let's go to Ray Brackens. Ray Brackens, my brother from another mother here in Houston, Texas. How are you doing, sir? Are you there? I can't hear you, Ray.
Okay, I can hear you now.
Okay, God, I can hear you as well. Go ahead, Ray.
Yeah, speaking of these tariffs, it's been causing me a great deal of distress. So I decided to switch to TikTok Shop. I don't know what other people's experience was on that. I have heard mixed reviews about Temu, so I haven't really signed up there, but I know I already have an account on TikTok, and I'm just usually scrolling through the lives, and then, hey, I see a little gadget, and they're like, hey, for $9.99, you can have it here. And it's like, I saw those same products on Amazon, probably not as cheap. So I went ahead and bought it. And I mean, my shipping experience was pretty good. So that might be another alternative.
It is an alternative. And my daughter loves to shop on TikTok. She also loves to shop on Temu. Now, again, the thing about it is people would talk about, well, you're going to the foreign company. Well, they accuse those people who shop at Temu or TikTok as, oh, you're going and shop to the Chinese company instead of going to the American company, Amazon. Well, Amazon is just going to these same companies and marking it up and making a few people rich. So people don't fall for the okie doke. If you can buy it directly, go do so. Continue, my brother.
Yeah, and like I say, don't let my I just distrust. I don't trust my own shadow sometimes. But if Temu is working for you, hey, look at the world we live in, Egberto. I never thought in a billion years that the country that gave us Barack Obama would give us Donald Trump. But I digress. On a more local front, shout out to Illinois for actually electing a governor that, has fortitude. Meanwhile, down here in Texas, for the last miserable 12 years that we've been dealing with this SOB that we call Hot Wheels. The governor's office has been much like, and I quote Eminem, much like an empty asylum. No nuts.
Okay, and with that, I move on to our video. Hey, thank you, my brother. Appreciate you very much. All right.
All right. Thank you, brother. Take care.
Take care. All right. Margaret Ryan says, how do you buy eyeglasses direct? You can go to iBuy Direct. You can go there are a lot of them. Just look up cheap glasses. And if the glasses are cheap, they're going to take you about a month to get to you, which means it's going to be made over in China more than likely. And again, the quality is very, very good. It is very, very good. Judy Croft says, and DJT, Noam Hoffman are making things worse for immigrant workers. Yes, and I have a story from this morning. One of I think she's a new paid supporter on Substack that called into I thought she was a guy all of the time, and today she called into the show and said, "No, I'm a woman." And I clipped what she spoke about. She's originally, her family is from Nigeria. And with all the immigration stuff that's going on now, her story touched me to the core. And I want you guys to listen to this story. and then we'll take it on the other side. Here we go now. Let's go to Yuzu. Yuzu, come on in.
Thank you for taking the opportunity. I wanted to, call obviously to correct and confirm that I am a girl, but I also wanted to give people a little bit of a history. I'm Nigerian. My family migrated here in '96, and I remember when we got here, my mom used to always tell us, America is the land of opportunity. Just work very hard, put your head down, and, you'll make it to the mountaintop. She never said those words exactly. But earlier on, I realized that, coming from Nigeria where the corruption is really in your face, I realized that in America, it was really behind closed doors, right? So before you realize that things were going south, like the 2008 financial crisis, you were robbed of everything. So, case in point, growing up in New York City, my dad passed away, but my mom, the kids, she literally worked 20 hours out of a 24-hour day to put food on. I'm driving. She didn't qualify for school lunch because they said that she was too wealthy. But my mom is working 20 hours out of a 24-hour day. So that's when I realized, I said, wow, there's really no mountaintop. Doesn't matter how hard you work. The system is designed, it's working the way it's designed, right? And I think what this con and felon did, as a New Yorker, we saw what he was all about. And it's just sad because for so long, people like my family realized the system was set up to not really achieve the true American dream. And they needed something. They needed someone to say it out loud. And the Democrats, just did not provide that vision and still don't. Till this day, I'm still waiting for anybody. And listen, Chris Murphy is great. Cory Booker, what they're doing is great. But I'm still waiting for someone to literally outline the vision of what someone in America can look forward to when they wake up in the morning. A nice practice I usually like to tell everyone is close your eyes and really just imagine if you had everything you needed to live. I'm not talking about excess. I'm not talking about being able to afford 3 houses. But most people genuinely just want to wake up, afford basic necessities, housing, food, shelter, healthcare. Go on maybe two or three modest vacations a year with their family and have a little bit of savings just to live out in their good old lives. And unfortunately, a lot of Americans don't have that, never truly had that. And that's the sad part because we do live in the richest country in the world and we have way more homeless people here than in Nigeria, and it's really sad. So that's what I just wanted to say. I know things are hard right now, things are bleak, but everybody just has to remember, close your eyes and imagine what it is that you want from the dream that was promised to a lot of people who are naturalized citizens or born here. You were promised this dream, but unfortunately you've been lied to for so long. And we, as the people, have to start saying enough is enough. This trickle-down economy is not going to work. Enough is enough. We have to design better because we cannot keep on doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. This tariff McKinley tactic did not work then, led to the Great Depression. And what makes us think it's going to work now? So that's all I wanted to say.
Let me tell you, Uju.
We are the people.
Uju, you made my day. You have made my day because coming from a caller to give that narration, and not only from a caller, from somebody whose parents, like my parents, when I came to America and I went to the University of Texas and I saw the light and I became an activist from the time I was at university at 19 years old. And my father came and visited me and saw me in one of my protests and all of that. And he said, I sent you here to get educated and in the land of opportunity. All of that, my dad said. He was upset at me for actually having seen the system. And, you as well, like myself, a first generation American, right? And saw the light and said, we are going to make America be what it told all of us it's going to be. Yes, there are too many people that have bought the Kool-Aid. We are here to say it's not really Kool-Aid. It is really the poison that Jim Jones gave the people back in Jonestown in Guyana. Thank you so kindly for your calls.
I want to mention 2 more things. Like you said, you talked about America has never honored any of the treaties And I honestly, truly believe that it goes back to two things. I never experienced microaggression and racism until I came to America. The minute you get up in JFK, which is essentially where we got off, we're New Yorkers, right?
Right.
And they ask you on the questionnaire is, what's your race? And I said, what do they mean, mommy? She's like, oh yeah, in America you have to check if you're black. And I said, wait, does it matter? Aren't we all Americans? She's like, you're young. When you get older, you understand. So I truly do believe that America is going through this now because I believe in karma and I believe in divine intervention. I feel like America has to burn, and from the ashes will come greatness, because America never truly atoned for its two original sins. It never atoned for the enslavement of Africans, and it never atoned for the pillage and the destruction of indigenous people's land.
And remember what they did to the Chinese as well.
Exactly. I mean, basically, but I'm talking about people that, yes, in addition, Chinese just never really atoned for it. And you can honestly, legitimately learn American history and still love your country. In Nigeria, I knew more about American history than Americans here.
Amen. We did. Yes. It's
crazy. And I went to public schools, but as a person who went to public school, I watched in New York City. I literally watched the decay, and I said, wow, we are being lied to. And I don't know when the chickens are going to come home to roost. And in 2025, they are coming home to roost.
Thank you, Uju. I got it. Uju, I got to go to a couple other callers. But thank you, sis. You have a wonderful day.
Taking my call. Bye.
Absolutely. Great call. Now, you guys can't tell me that wasn't a hell of a call. Every so often, I get a call that is just so, what's the word that I want to use? That so touches my heart. And this one touched my heart because it was like she was raised by the same parents that I was raised by. We came over to the land of opportunity. We never asked for anything, right? We went out there and we busted our butts. I remember going to Blinn College, and the first thing, I couldn't really get a job on the outside, but I could work at the college. I swept floors. I washed dishes. I took out the garbage. The first time that I got a green card based on my grandfather being here, I was able to then get a job. I remember that I worked to get to the, I gave up my scholarship at Blinn, and to go to UT, I had to work 3 jobs. And I mean, that is the work ethic that immigrants come over here with. You take a look at the folks that are building our homes. You take a look at the folks that are taking care of our kids. You look at the folks that are out there in the fields picking up the lettuce, picking the oranges off the trees, etc. Look at these guys that many a times underpaid, allows us to have the prices in the grocery stores that we have. Work ethic. You have a few criminals that come over, but not in the quantity of homegrown criminals. But you have a few. But the work ethic of the immigrant coming to the United States, it's amazing. And I tell you that from my own story. If you listen to Uju's story, and if you listen to the story of many, that is what we're talking about. And to have an evil administration treat the immigrants as they are right now, it is shameful. And it is actually worse than shameful. It is also unchristian-like. It is all in any religion that you talk about. What these guys are doing is simply the instantiation of evil. Now, here's a piece now that relates to this. For all of the xenophobes out there, for all the MAGA out there that don't like the brown people that come over here and want to get them all out of the country, that's one thing. You're cutting your face to spite you're cutting yourself to spite your face, or however that goes. Because we need the immigrants more so than they need us, right? That's the truth. We need the immigrants more so than they need us. All right. If you go from technology all the way down to picking crops, from technology all the way down to picking crops. But check this out. if you think you're safe from Trump's autocracy, if you think for once you are safe from Trump's autocracy, I want you to see a piece that Rachel Maddow did yesterday that everybody better see. Because when you have an autocratic government that has no problem blowing things up, this is what you get. You know, for our MAGA brothers and sisters, for our xenophobes out there who think by giving Donald Trump or allowing Donald Trump to have authority he constitutionally does not have, to simply pull people off the streets or raid people's homes in a violent manner, that somehow that shows our strength and somehow that is good for our system. That is good to protect Americans. The reality is this story here that Rachel Maddow put on her storyline yesterday out of Oklahoma by a great local station in Oklahoma. I'm impressed that a local station in Oklahoma did such a good job in showing the dangers of having an autocrat in power. I want you to listen to this, and then we'll take it on the other side.
New at 10, a family traumatized after armed federal agents busted into their home as they were sleeping and took almost everything they owned. Problem is, they were not the people agents were supposed to be looking for.
News 4's Spencer Humphrey is here with their frightening ordeal. Spencer, what's going on here?
Yeah, well, get this. That family just moved here about 2 weeks ago from out of state, and this is how their life in Oklahoma got started. They say they told federal immigration agents they had the wrong people, but those agents kept treating them like criminals, even though they're all U.S. citizens. Fear.
Because I did feel at times I felt I was going to die.
So much fear.
I kept praying. I said, God, please let me live through this moment.
Humiliation.
I was a zero. I was nothing.
Pure disbelief.
I just couldn't understand, how is this happening to us?
All just for wanting a fresh start.
You come to Oklahoma and you get treated like this. For what?
This woman, who we're calling Marissa, and her 3 daughters came to Oklahoma from Maryland looking for a slower, more affordable pace of life. They rented this house in a nice, seemingly safe northwest Oklahoma City neighborhood. Her husband planned to join them this past weekend, but any semblance they had of comfort went out the window when 20 men armed to the teeth busted through it Thursday morning.
I don't know who they were. They had guns. It was dark. All the lights were off.
They were federal agents, Marissa says, with the U.S. Marshals, ICE, and the FBI.
And I kept asking them, like, who are you? What are you doing here? What's happening? And they said, we have a warrant for the house.
They ordered Marissa and her daughters outside into the rain before they could even get dressed.
They wanted me to change in front of all of them, in between all of them.
The thing is, the suspect names on that search warrant were not Marissa's or anyone in her family's. They were, however, names listed on mail still arriving at the house. Former residents, perhaps.
We just moved here from Maryland. We're citizens. That's what I kept saying. We're citizens.
She says they didn't care.
We weren't criminals. Why were they treating us like criminals? We were here by ourselves. That we didn't do anything.
The agents ripped apart every square inch of the house, taking their phones, laptops, documents, and their life savings in cash as evidence.
Like, I have to feed my children. I'm gonna need gas money. I need to be able to get around. Like, how do you just leave me like this, like an abandoned dog?
And when they left, they told her something.
I know it was a little rough this morning. It was so denigrating. Like, you do all of this to a family, to women, your fellow citizens, and it was a little rough. You have literally traumatized me and my daughters for life.
This family has virtually nothing.
And I said, when are we going to get our stuff back? He was like, it could be days or it could be months.
Nothing but questions.
Well, what if I would have been armed? What if you're breaking in? What am I supposed to think? My initial thought is we were being robbed. My daughters, my female daughters, being kidnapped.
Nothing but likely lifelong trauma.
We have guns pointed at our faces. can you just reprogram yourself and see us as humans, as women, a little bit of mercy, and care a little bit about your fellow human mate, about your fellow citizen, like fellow resident. We bleed too. We bleed just like anybody else bleeds. We were scared. You could see in our faces that we were terrified.
Marissa says the agents refused to leave any contact information or business cards. She believes the agents wore logos connected to ICE, the U.S. Marshal Service, and the FBI. Today, the U.S. Marshal Service says their team was not involved. We also reached out to the FBI asking about that agency's level of involvement. Last week, they told us they assisted in this case. Late this afternoon, they told us they were not on the scene. They told us to contact Homeland Security, so we did. A spokesperson told us they would look into it and get back with us. So far, we've heard nothing. As for the family's phones, electronics, and cash, they have no idea which agency has their belongings or how to get them back.
Now, xenophobes, MAGA, for all of you who get a pleasure in seeing these undocumented workers pulled off the streets, thrown out to El Salvador, maligned, treated like animals, treated like less than humans. For those of you who think it's okay, for those of you who voted for this moron to do these things, this autocrat to do these things, these people were American citizens. And just like they broke into their homes in the fashion that they did, and now no one takes responsibility. They don't even know where their electronics and cell phones and all of that was stolen by an autocratic government. They don't even know where to find these things. If you think that will only happen to brown people, to people that are already, first of all, for all the brown Latinos and black men that voted for Donald Trump thinking that somehow he would be for you, this can happen to you because most of these things occur out of racial profiling that is endemic within not only his party, but within the culture that he creates, the MAGA culture. That is endemic within there. But it's not only that. Because liberals and everybody else that look a bit different, act a bit different, associates a bit differently. This is what you can expect going forward. Because once you do it the first time and get away with it, once you do it the second, the third, the fourth time and get away with it, it becomes modus operandi. It becomes, we can do it. And that then is something that all of us will then fear. And the magical word there is fear. And that is what an autocratic government expects out of you. That is what Trump wants out of you. And while today it is those pinko liberals, while today it is those brown people, while today it is all those who are considered the other, when Trump does something that you decide is not right, like you are going to find out when the ultimate results of the tariffs and other policies, the tax cuts and the cut in Medicare and the cut in Medicaid, when all of that is realized and people in Appalachia, our MAGA brothers and sisters, finally realize they've been had. By then, the established modus operandi to hold on, to kidnap leaders will be in full vogue. Be careful. You better start teaming up now. You better start realizing who's on your side right now. My dear brother Patrick, talk to me.
Hey, we probably all knew this was coming. I'm referring to the no-knock.
Right.
Trying to arrest an American citizen. We have this blueprint from the drug war.
Mm-hmm.
And no-knock warrants were done the same way. A lot of people got killed. They shot and killed a lawyer in California. People hit the streets then. They get addresses wrong all the time, throw flash bang grenades. So a real good book called Bad Trip is about 350 pages long, and they went over case after case, and each case only took about 2 or 3 pages. So there were hundreds of cases in that, and it was examples like this where they would throw in a flashbang to the wrong address, next door neighbor. It lands in a baby carriage, blows the thing apart. Grandma and the baby are the only one at home. Injuries occur. No
accountability.
And they're not identifying themselves. And if you shoot one of them, you still go to prison, even though they're not identifying themselves. We didn't care then because we thought it was mostly minorities. And apparently now we don't care either because we think it's minorities, but it's not. And it doesn't matter.
Hey, Patrick, John A. wants to know the name of the book again.
A Bad Trip.
A Bad Trip, John A. A Bad Trip. Okay, Reverend Carlton says, exactly. Dictators gonna dictate. Nobody is safe. They will come for everybody eventually. This is a political murder-suicide pact. This is where the cult is headed. Continue, my brother.
Well, there's a reason why we have a Constitution. There's a reason why you're supposed to present a warrant. There's a reason why you're supposed to go through the proper channels and through the proper procedures. And it's to keep people from getting killed. And we're not doing it because the person that's asking us to do this doesn't care whether or not an innocent person dies. And that's our president.
Exactly. LBW says, and the new executive order signed this week provides additional layers of immunity for those officers who violate our rights. That's true. And Independent Voter says, I just got a delivery for a package with my address, but the name is not someone who lives here and I have never seen before, or it's unfamiliar. Just don't open it and return it, my dear brother. Welcome aboard, Ricardo Lemos. Anyway, continue, Patrick.
I wanted to ask you a question, too. We bring up Appalachia a lot. I have my suspicions why, but I'm starting to hear conservatives saying, thank goodness we're getting coal jobs back. So I guess maybe something happened to where they're going to invest in coal again.
Well, what happened is Trump has lifted all the regulations that made coal expensive to mine. It's been cutting down. But the thing about it is the coal jobs that he thinks this is how lame the president is. When we call him a moron, it's actually not. It's not just a name. It actually reflects his knowledge base. Coal is no longer mined the way it was, where you have a whole lot of men that go into a hole and dig it out. It's all automated now.
Thank you. I've been waiting for you because we keep bringing up Appalachia, and conservatives are saying that people lost their job in Appalachia because we're no longer cutting down trees and we're no longer digging up coal. They lost their jobs because they mechanized lumber and they mechanized coal mining. And it's not even mining anymore because mining brings in the idea that you're going underground. They blow off a mountain. They blow off a mountaintop. They separate some coal, leave some coal in. If it's too expensive to separate, they just leave it in. Then they push that into a valley, which is where people get their water.
Mm-hmm. I'm glad you said that because
trying to bring back.
Right. I mean, what they don't tell you is when you go ahead and dig that coal up, you get a lot of mercury and a lot of other heavy elements that's within that coal. And when they cut the top of that mountain on the side and you get the water running down, it goes into the creeks and it doesn't necessarily kill the fish. It just makes the fish cancerous and make you cancerous. I mean, the thing that these guys are doing to their own people, what Trump is doing to MAGA is killing them, not only with the reductions that we're going to have in healthcare, but also with the regulations that they're going to can. Look at what Florida just did. Florida just banned fluoride in their water. So now we're going to have a lot of Floridians, poor Floridians, because the rich Floridians will buy the expensive toothpaste that has the fluoride to keep their enamel intact. But the poor Floridians' teeth are going to be going to hell. These are things that, like the mask, most of the people who died during the pandemic were Republicans. Why? Because they followed the crap that they heard on Fox News and TV. It's crazy, my dear brother Patrick. It's crazy.
You're one step ahead of me on this entire conversation. I want to go back to your referencing of mercury with coal, and that's
right.
That was another trail I was about to take you down. What is our Kennedy worried about?
You're scared about autism. And mercury has been,
yeah, he is.
Yeah. And they used to say that mercury within the vaccines was probably a contributor to autism. Now he has a policy that will allow more mercury into the water. It's amazing.
And into the air. They're trying to bring back what actually caused autism for some children, while they're trying to make money deceiving other people into thinking it's something else.
Exactly.
After you burn coal, you have several different versions of mercury. Mercury, once it gets into the atmosphere, becomes methyl mercury, which passes the brain the brain barrier.
The barrier, yes.
Yeah, and that's where you get a lot of problems. 25 years ago is when I was researching coal, and 25 years ago, the American Lung and Heart Association estimated over 700,000 children were born with learning disabilities because of it, and over 2 million people per year died prematurely through heart and lung complications. I'm going really long. I'll leave it at that. But
let me hold a second, because E2247 just says, this ain't your old 2021 PDR no more. Explain, is that a positive or a negative in your view, E2247? Let me know if it's a positive or a negative. And then if it's a negative, tell me in what form. We like to take advice from all those who listen to us. Continue, Patrick.
Yeah, and I don't want to be taken away from the show. So if I'm reducing the quality, I'd like.
Oh no. Yeah, no. Let me tell you something. I need to say this. Interaction with our listeners can never be a negative. Because again, the audience adds to the program every single time. Thank you, my brother.
But I'll let you go, because I think you're coming up to your point.
Yeah, I'm coming up to the right point. But I'll talk to you tomorrow morning if you're there, my brother, for the KPFT show. Okay?
Yes, sir.
Have a good one.
Yes, sir.
Thank you for your call.
Thanks for having me on.
All right, folks. That was Patrick Magner, the first person that came into the show today. Judicae says physicians, deaths reference PDR. John A says there's a reason we just let China mine rare earth metals, but now we want to destroy our environment in the U.S. too. E2247 says that's about the trolls. Sorry, Egberto, did not mean it as a slam, but as a cautionary. I got you, brother. Let me just say this, okay? The trolls will be there, E2247, as long as you ignore the trolls, and when they say something silly, right, ignore it. One of the reasons I still want them here is that something that you are going to say, E2247, something Patrick is going to say, Rudnan is going to say, may just bear fruit. I want to keep an open door policy for everybody. I love everybody, and I mean that from the depths of my heart. I look at a lot of our MAGA folks as severely disturbed, and I think we can prove that mathematically, socially, and otherwise. And we just work with them. Anyhow, we are near the end of the program, folks. I want to first of all thank you all for coming to the program day in and day out. And I want to thank specifically the callers for making the program a better program, because you do. whether it is Patrick, whether it is Ray, whether it is sometimes Tim calls in, whether sometimes Tom calls in, sometimes Breach calls in, sometimes Joe calls in. I love all of you to, whenever you have something to say that you don't want to throw in the chat, give us a call. That's why Bruce Pollard decided to say, Egberto, add the phone system back to the afternoon program, which we did. B. Warren says, I can't find a bad trip on Audible from Amazon. Could your caller give the writer's name? I tell you what, tomorrow when he comes back on, we'll do that. John A. say, you're amazing, Egberto. Oh, I so thank you for that. And let's see what else we got here. All right. We are now at the end of the program. I'd like to ask you who find value in what we do to support the program. The best way to support the program is becoming a paid subscriber of our newsletter. Lately, we have been stuck in not getting a solid increase. So I am going to ask you to please, Harry, I forgot. You too, Harry. You know I love you, Harry. To please go to politicsdoneright.com/newsletter, politicsdoneright.com/newsletter, and become a paid subscriber. We are hundreds of subscribers away from break even. We're still, but this has been my goal in life. This is what I am going to do till I die. Try to be a part of making this a better place. And that's a commitment I've made when I got rid of my company, when I did all of that. That's a commitment. But I also need a commitment from those who see the value in what we're doing to support us. And how can you do that? Please go to politicsdoneright.com/newsletter, become a paid subscriber of our newsletter. That is our main funding source right now. But there are many other funding sources that you can choose from by going to politicsdoneright.com/support. There you'll get our link to our Patreon, our PayPal, all that good stuff. But we would really love to get those consistent subscribers that give us a coffee a month or so, or decide to do it however you want to do it. Because that's how we can keep doing this. And you see, we put the effort and the work in. So please support us. Go to politicsdoneright.com/newsletter. We'll be here twice a day, 6 o'clock in the mornings on KPFT 90.1 FM, which we simulcast on Substack as well. And we also do it at 3 o'clock. Yvette Avery Harris says, I will be at a May Day rally tomorrow. Great show. Thank you. You know what look, we have rallies here too, and I'm supposed to be going to a one tomorrow as well. I don't know if I'm going to get there, depending on how things work out. I'm supposed to be doing some media out there as well. So anyhow, thank you guys for being here. I got to get out of here. My name is Egberto Willies. This is Politics Done Right. And you guys know how I end this baby. I am what? Out.
We spend a lot of time deconstructing the news, trying to parse it into a form that everybody can understand. We try to find those little nitpicks where it flies above the fray, etc. If you really like these videos that we do, I want to ask a big favor. Please go ahead. Number 1, subscribe to our channel. And number 2, please join if you can. Thank you so kindly for watching. Keep watching. Please remember to share. We must populate the entire internet with our progressive message, a message that we know is what most Americans say that they want. So help us, please join.